My daughter's voice was almost a breath against my ear when she said it. "Daddy, Grandma said I should never tell you what I saw." The words lodged themselves beneath my skin like splinters, sharp and unrelenting. She was only 5, too young to carry secrets, too innocent to understand the weight of them. I crouched down, steadying her small shoulders, masking the thunder rolling through me. "What did you see, sweetheart?" Her lips trembled, eyes darting toward the stairs as if the walls themselves could overhear. She didn't answer. Instead, she pressed her face into my chest, whispering, "Grandma said you'd be mad if I told." Mad. That was the word she chose. Not scared, not sad, mad. Something inside me shifted, a hairline crack in glass, silent but inevitable. I held her tighter, but my eyes fixed on the ceiling above, on the room where my mother-in-law slept. And I knew this wasn't about a child's imagination. This was about betrayal, the kind that hides in plain sight, the kind that doesn't whisper, it poisons. The days that followed were filled with silences too heavy to ignore. My wife brushed it off, claiming her mother spoiled our daughter with stories, silly warnings, childish games. But I watched her carefully. The way her smile tightened, the way her gaze slipped when I asked simple questions. It wasn't just the child's secret, it was hers. The puzzle pieces clicked quietly, almost cruelly. The late nights explained away by work, the coldness in her bed disguised as exhaustion, her phone always face down as if ashamed of what it carried. I wanted to deny it, wanted to bury the thought beneath routine, meals, bedtime stories, morning coffee. But the unease clung to me like a second skin. Every time my daughter hesitated to speak in front of her grandmother, every time she looked at me, unsure, afraid of saying too much, I felt it tighten, the noose of suspicion. I realized then the betrayal wasn't new. It was old, rotting, and carefully concealed. And my daughter had seen something I wasn't meant to. I played the role: husband, father, son-in-law, calm, trusting. Inside, I cataloged every inconsistency. I checked phone records, numbers that repeated, calls late into the night. I traced emails she thought were deleted, fragments recovered like bones unearthed. And always his name surfaced, a man I knew, someone close. But I didn't confront her. No, I let the silence stretch, wrapping around her like a tightening wire. I smiled when she lied. I kissed her forehead when she left for work. I tucked my daughter into bed with steady hands, even as the storm inside me raged unchecked. I took a DNA test for my daughter, quietly, methodically. I mailed it out like a man sending his soul away for judgment. And then I waited. The days crawled. My wife laughed in the kitchen, unaware. My mother-in-law's watchful eyes followed me, sharp, calculating. And my daughter whispered still, asking questions I couldn't yet answer. I was no longer her father. I was a shadow, a listener, a collector of truth. And when the envelope arrived, heavy with finality, I didn't hesitate. I opened it alone. One glance, one number. That was all it took. Not mine. The child I'd held since birth, the child who clung to me every night, wasn't mine. The world didn't explode. It simply narrowed. A cold, surgical clarity cut through me. I waited until dinner, until the table was set, until my wife smiled across from me as though nothing was amiss. My daughter sat between us, spoon clutched in her small hand. My mother-in-law's eyes glittered, too knowing, too smug. I slid the paper across the table, no words, just numbers. Her face drained, color bleeding out like a dying flame. My daughter looked up, confused. "Daddy?" I touched her hair gently, never breaking eye contact with the woman across from me. "Finish your dinner, sweetheart." and I watched my wife crumble in silence. Later, when our daughter was asleep, I stood in the living room. She tried to speak, plead, explain, twist. I didn't shout, didn't throw, didn't cry. I simply asked, "Whose child is she?" Her lips parted, trembling. No sound came. I already knew. I told her calmly that the house was hers now, that the bed was hers, that she could explain to her daughter, our daughter, why Daddy would no longer be around every night. Her sobbing filled the room, but I felt nothing. The real revenge wasn't rage, it was absence, it was silence. It was leaving her to drown in the truth she thought she could bury. I kissed my daughter goodbye the next morning. She clung to me, afraid. I whispered, "I will always love you," because love wasn't about blood, it was about choice. But I didn't look at my wife again, didn't give her the mercy of my anger. She could live with her lies, with the man who gave her a child I had raised, with the hollow space I left behind. As I walked out, the air felt sharper, cleaner. I wasn't broken, I wasn't lost, I was free. And freedom, I realized, was the cruelest gift I could give her.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.